Hey Everyone, where we talk about driving through life and taking control of your journey. Today, I want to talk to you about taking massive risks, the kind of risks that make your heart race, make you question yourself, and honestly scare the hell out of you. But here's the truth, it's exactly those risks that will change your life forever. Risk is the fuel of progress. Every single breakthrough in history, whether in science, was business, or personal growth, came because someone took a leap into the unknown. Think about it. You can't create something extraordinary while staying in the ordinary. Too many of us live in the safe zone. We follow a routine. We don't challenge the status quo. And we shy away from making bold moves because we're afraid of failing. But what's more terrifying, failing or staying stuck in the same place forever? Here's the hard truth. Playing it safe costs more than taking risks ever will. Safe is familiar, but safe also keeps you from realizing your true potential. It robs you of the chance to become the best version of yourself. Imagine this, at the end of your life, will you be proud of playing it safe, or will you regret not trying for something bigger, better, and bolder? People often say, take small steps to success. Sure, that's fine advice, but sometimes small steps just aren't enough. Massive changes require massive risks. If you want to change your career, don't just dabble in something on the side, go all in. If you want to start a business, don't just save up, slowly make the leap, even if you don't have all the answers. If you want to change your life, don't wait for the perfect moment, create it. I know what you're thinking, but what if I fail? Well, guess what? Fear is a sign you're doing something right. The more fear you feel, the more it shows that you're about to step into a place of growth. Fear isn't the enemy, it's a guidepost pointing you towards something meaningful. The truth is, we've been conditioned to think that failing is the worst thing that can happen to us. But I'm here to tell you failing is part of success. You will fall down. You will make mistakes. But every single one of those mistakes is a stepping stone to where you're meant to be. If you're not failing, you're not even trying. Let me remind you. Steve Jobs was fired from Apple, the company he founded, but he didn't give up. He doubled down on his risks and came back to lead one of the most successful turnarounds in business history. Oprah Winfrey was told she wasn't fit for television, yet she took the risk of staying true to her vision. And today, she's one of the most influential media figures in the world. These people didn't play it safe. They risked everything and they changed their lives forever. Risk is an essential part of progress. Throughout history, every major achievement or breakthrough has come because someone dared to take a step into the unknown. Whether in science, business, or personal life, progress is always preceded by uncertainty and the willingness to face potential failure. The truth is, if you want to achieve something extraordinary, you cannot do it while staying within the boundaries of what is safe or familiar. Think about the great inventors, entrepreneurs, and leaders who changed the course of history. They didn't achieve their greatness by staying in their comfort zones. They challenged the status quo, pushed the limits of their knowledge, and risked not only their reputations, but often their careers and finances to make a difference. Thomas Edison, for example, famously failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. It wasn't because he was better equipped or smarter than others. It was because he wasn't afraid to take risks and learn from his failures. Without that boldness, we might still be living in the dark. In our personal lives, the same principle holds true. Every time we push ourselves to do something new, whether it's starting a business, switching careers, or moving to a new city, we are faced with uncertainty. There's always the possibility that things won't work out the way we hope. But what if they do? What if the risk we take is the very thing that transforms our lives? Staying within the realm of the known of what feels comfortable might seem safe, but it comes at a significant cost. It means giving up the possibility of growth, learning, and discovering new horizons. When we don't take risks, we limit our experiences and miss out on the potential for greater success, fulfillment, and happiness. The act of taking risks is not about being reckless. It's about trusting in the process of growth and accepting that failure is a natural part of it. Often we let fear hold us back. We tell ourselves we're not ready, that we don't have enough resources or knowledge, or that now isn't the right time. But the reality is, there's never a perfect time to take a risk. There's always a reason to stay where we are, to remain comfortable. But if we do that, we're choosing stagnation over evolution. Risks don't always lead to immediate success. In fact, they often lead to failure at first. But even in those failures, we learn valuable lessons. Every failure brings us closer to our goal because it teaches us what doesn't work and gives us the chance to adjust and try again. Without taking that first step into the unknown, we would never know what we're truly capable of achieving. Risk is the foundation of progress because it forces us to innovate, adapt, and grow. It pushes us to think outside the box and come up with solutions we might never have considered if we stayed within the bounds of the familiar. Progress, both personal and professional, is born out of the willingness to challenge yourself, face uncertainty, and embrace the possibility of failure with the knowledge that each attempt, successful or not, brings you one step closer to success. In the end, the only real risk is staying in the same place. Staying safe might keep you from failing, but it also keeps you from ever reaching your full potential. The greatest risk you can take is not trying at all, because then you're guaranteed to stay exactly where you are. True progress, the kind that leads to life-changing achievements, can only happen when you step into the unknown with courage and a willingness to embrace whatever comes your way. Taking risks might be uncomfortable and scary, but it's the only path to real growth and lasting success. Playing it safe might feel comforting, but over time it comes with a hefty cost. When we choose safety over challenge, familiarity over the unknown, we are essentially choosing to limit our lives. We settle into routines, take the path of least resistance, and avoid the discomfort that comes with trying something new or uncertain. But what we don't often realize is that this comfort comes at a price, one that grows larger the longer we stay within its confines. The cost of playing it safe is not always immediately apparent. In the short term, it may seem like the sensible choice. We avoid failure, we avoid risk, and we maintain stability. However, over time, what we really end up avoiding are the very opportunities that could change our lives for the better. By sticking to what we know, we miss out on the growth that comes from pushing our boundaries, the creativity that emerges from solving new problems, and the joy of discovering new possibilities that only exist outside our comfort zone. One of the biggest costs of playing it safe is stagnation. Life becomes predictable, even monotonous. We start going through the motions without feeling truly alive or engaged. While everything on the surface might seem fine, stable jobs, steady income, reliable routines, the truth is that deep down we know there's more to life. That yearning for something greater, something more meaningful, never really goes away. That the longer we stay in the same place, the harder it becomes to take the leap and go after what we really want. Another consequence of playing it safe is missed potential. Every one of us has untapped talents, dreams, and capabilities waiting to be realized, but those things don't come to life unless we are willing to take risks. Whether it's pursuing a passion, starting a new business, or even having a difficult conversation that could improve a relationship, potential is something that needs to be unlocked through action. If we never stretch ourselves beyond what we already know, we never give ourselves the chance to see what we're truly capable of achieving. Perhaps the most insidious cost of playing it safe is regret. As time goes on, the what-ifs begin to pile up. We look back and wonder what could have been if we had just taken that chance, tried something new, or followed that dream. Regret is often less about the things we did and more about the things we didn't do, the opportunities we passed up because we were too afraid of the unknown. As the years go by, that sense of missed opportunity can weigh heavily, leaving us with the feeling that we haven't lived up to our full potential. Fear of failure is a big reason people choose to play it safe. But what many don't realize is that failure is not the worst thing that can happen to us staying the same as. When we fail, we learn, we adapt, and we grow. Or we gain new insights that prepare us for the next opportunity. But when we choose not to try at all, we lose the chance to learn those lessons, to gain that experience, and to move forward. In the end, playing it safe doesn't prevent failure, it prevents progress. Another overlooked cost is missed opportunities for happiness and fulfillment. Life is meant to be lived fully, and that means taking risks that can lead to greater joy, deeper relationships, and more meaningful achievements. When we play it safe, we often settle for less than what we deserve. We stay in jobs that don't inspire us because they're stable. We remain in relationships that don't make us happy because they're familiar. We avoid making big moves because we're afraid of the discomfort or uncertainty that comes with change. But in doing so, we miss out on the happiness that comes from pursuing our true passions, building meaningful connections, and living a life that aligns with our values and desires. By avoiding risk, we also limit our ability to adapt and innovate. The world is constantly changing, and those who take risks are better equipped to navigate that change. They learn how to pivot, how to think creatively, and how to turn challenges into opportunities. On the other hand, those who cling to safety often find themselves left behind, unable to cope with the inevitable changes that life throws their way. One of the greatest costs of playing it safe is that it dulls our sense of adventure and curiosity. As children, we're naturally curious, always eager to explore the world around us, take on new challenges, and test our limits. But as we grow older, many of us lose that sense of wonder. We start to fear failure more than we value the joy of discovery. And so we stop taking risks, even though it's those very risks that bring excitement, learning, and adventure into our lives. When we choose safety over risk, we choose to limit our experience of the world and our ability to fully engage with life. In the end, the cost of playing it safe is a life that is smaller, more constrained, and less fulfilling than it could be. It may seem like the easier path in the short term, but over time, it leads to a life filled with missed opportunities, unrealized potential, and lingering regret. The discomfort of risk may be temporary, but the rewards, personal growth, new opportunities, and a life lived to its fullest are lasting. Playing it safe might shield you from failure in the moment, but it will never lead to the kind of success, joy, and fulfillment that come from stepping outside your comfort zone and embracing the unknown. When it comes to achieving significant change, massive action is often the key. While small steps have their place, especially in long-term goals that require steady progress, there are moments in life when incremental change simply isn't enough. These are the moments when we need to go all in, when we need to take bold, decisive action to create the kind of transformation we desire. In these moments, massive action, taking big risks and making radical moves can propel us forward in ways that small, cautious steps never could. Taking massive action means putting yourself out there completely without holding back or waiting for the perfect moment. It's about understanding that if you want to achieve something extraordinary, you can't just tiptoe toward it. You have to run full speed ahead, even if you don't have all the answers. This kind of action requires commitment, focus, and a willingness to leave behind the familiar in pursuit of something greater. It's about taking a leap even when the ground ahead isn't entirely visible, trusting that you will either land on your feet or learn how to fly along the way. Many people are tempted to take the safe route by making only minor adjustments or changes in their lives, thinking that slow and steady progress will eventually get them where they want to go. While there is value in consistency, there are times when playing it safe simply isn't enough to create the life you truly want. If you dream of a life that's different from the one you're currently living, small steps might feel comforting, but they often don't lead to real, lasting change. Instead, they can keep you stuck in a loop where progress feels painfully slow or even non-existent. Consider someone who wants to change their career, for example. They might take small steps like updating their resume, networking with a few colleagues, or taking a class on the side. These are all valid actions, but they may not be enough to truly break free from their current situation. Taking massive action, on the other hand, could mean quitting their current job, going back to school full-time, or launching a business they've been dreaming about. Massive action, while riskier, has the potential to lead to dramatic results much faster because it requires a full commitment to the goal. The same principle applies to personal growth. If you want to make a profound change in your life, whether it's improving your health, your relationships, or your mindset, small tweaks might not be enough to get you there. Sure, you can try to eat a little healthier or exercise occasionally, but if you want to see significant results, you'll likely need to take bigger, more impactful steps. This could mean committing to a completely new fitness regimen, overhauling your diet, or making drastic changes to your daily routine to prioritize your health. It could also mean cutting out toxic relationships entirely or making major shifts in your mindset by investing in personal development through books, seminars, or coaching. Massive action doesn't just bring faster results, it also brings clarity. When you take bold steps, you force yourself to confront challenges head on and quickly find out what works and what doesn't. By contrast, small steps often allow us to stay in a zone of hesitation where we try a little of this and a little of that, but never really fully commit to anything. Massive action eliminates that indecision. It demands that you make a choice, act on it, and then learn from the results. Another advantage of massive action is the way it creates momentum. There's something incredibly powerful about making a bold move. It sends a message to the world and to yourself that you are serious about your goals. This kind of commitment attracts new opportunities, resources, and people into your life who can help you along the way. It's as though the universe responds to your boldness by opening doors you didn't even know were there. Once you've taken that first big step, it becomes easier to keep moving forward. Momentum builds, and before you know it, you've accomplished things you once thought were impossible. Taking massive action also pushes you to face your fears. Often the reason we stick to small steps is that we're afraid of what might happen if we go all in. We fear failure, rejection, or criticism. But the irony is that it's only by facing those fears head on that we actually move past them. When you take massive action, you confront your fears directly because you're fully immersed in the process. There's no room for second guessing or retreating into comfort zones. And as a result, you become stronger, more resilient, and more capable of handling whatever challenges come your way. There's also a psychological benefit to taking massive action. It shifts your identity. When you make bold moves, you start to see yourself as someone who takes risks. Someone who takes risks, someone who is willing to do whatever it takes to achieve their goals. This shift in self-perception is incredibly powerful because it changes the way you approach everything in your life. You stop thinking of yourself as someone who is simply getting by, and you start seeing yourself as someone who is actively creating the life they want. This change in mindset can have a ripple effect, impacting every area of your life in positive ways. It's important to recognize that taking massive action doesn't mean acting recklessly. It's not about making impulsive decisions without considering the consequences. Rather, it's about being bold and decisive in the pursuit of your goals. It's about understanding that sometimes the only way to create real change is to take a big leap instead of waiting for things to happen on their own. This kind of action requires courage and the willingness to embrace uncertainty, but the rewards are often far greater than the risks. Ultimately, massive action is about commitment. It's about deciding that you are all in, that you're not going to settle for small changes or half-hearted efforts. And you are going to give it everything you've got, no matter the outcome. And in doing so, you open yourself up to the possibility of achieving things you never thought were possible. Small steps may keep you moving forward, but massive action has the power to transform your life. It's the difference between inching toward your dreams and taking a giant leap toward them. If you're ready for real change, if you're ready to live the life you've always dreamed of, then it's time to stop playing small and take massive action. The risks may be great, but the rewards are even greater. Fear is one of the most powerful emotions we experience as human beings, and for many, it's an emotion to be avoided at all costs. We've been conditioned to think of fear as a signal to stop, retreat, or turn back. But in reality, fear can be one of the greatest indicators that we are about to do something important. Instead of seeing fear as an obstacle, we need to start viewing it as a guide, something that points us toward growth, change, and transformation. Fear often arises when we're standing on the edge of something new, something unfamiliar. It's the body and mind's natural response to uncertainty. But just because something is uncertain doesn't mean it's dangerous or wrong. In fact, the things that scare us the most are often the very things that have the potential to bring us the greatest rewards. When you feel fear, it's usually a sign that you're about to step outside your comfort zone, and that's exactly where growth happens. Many people avoid taking risks because they want to avoid feeling afraid. They stay in their comfort zones where everything feels predictable and safe. But what they don't realize is that by avoiding fear, they're also avoiding opportunities for growth, learning, and achievement. Fear isn't something to be eliminated. It's something to be embraced as part of the process of living a full and meaningful life. Consider the times in your life when you felt the most alive, the most engaged with the world around you. Chances are those moments were also times when you felt a certain degree of fear, whether it was starting a new job, moving to a new city, entering a new relationship, or taking on a challenging project. Fear is a signal that you are stepping into the unknown, that you are doing something that matters. The presence of fear means you care about the outcome, and that's a good thing. It means you're invested in what you're doing and you're willing to take risks in order to pursue it. When we view fear as an obstacle, we tend to see it as something that must be avoided or overcome before we can move forward. We think we need to eliminate fear in order to succeed, but the truth is, fear never really goes away. No matter how successful or experienced you become, there will always be moments when you feel afraid. The difference between those who move forward and those who remain stuck is not the absence of fear, but the ability to act in spite of it. Successful people don't wait for fear to disappear before they take action. Instead, they acknowledge it, accept it, and move forward anyway. They understand that fear is part of the process and that it doesn't have to dictate their choices. They learn to use fear as a guide, not as a roadblock. When fear shows up, they see it as an indication that they are pushing themselves, taking risks, and moving towards something meaningful. One of the reasons fear can be so paralyzing is that we tend to focus on the worst case scenario. Our minds naturally gravitate toward thoughts of failure, embarrassment, or loss. But what if we shifted our focus? What if instead of thinking about what could go wrong, we thought about what could go right? What if instead of letting fear stop us, we used it to propel us toward our goals? Fear, when used correctly, can be a powerful motivator. It can push us to work harder, to prepare more thoroughly, and to stay focused on what really matters. Fear also serves as a mirror, reflecting back the areas of our lives where we need to grow. If you're afraid of public speaking, for example, it's likely because you know that speaking in front of others is an important skill that you need to develop. If you're afraid of taking on a leadership role, it might be because deep down you know you're capable of more, but you're scared of the responsibility that comes with it. In this way, fear reveals our hidden potential. It shows us where we need to push ourselves and what we're capable of achieving if we're willing to face it. Fear can also help us become more resilient. Each time we face our fears and move through them, we build strength and confidence in our ability to handle challenges. The more we practice this, the less intimidating fear becomes. We begin to trust ourselves more, knowing that even if things don't go perfectly, we can handle whatever comes our way. Over time, this resilience allows us to take even bigger risks, knowing that we've faced fear before and come out stronger on the other side. It's important to note that fear doesn't always mean danger. In fact, most of the fears we experience in our modern lives are not life-threatening. They are fears of discomfort, of failure, or of rejection. But these fears, while uncomfortable, are not reasons to avoid action. They are signals that we are pushing ourselves to grow and evolve. The discomfort that comes with fear is temporary, but the rewards of facing that fear can be long-lasting and transformative. Ultimately, fear is a guide because it shows us where our deepest desires lie. The things we are most afraid of are often the things that matter most to us. If you're afraid of starting a business, it's likely because you care deeply about your success and the impact you want to make. If you're afraid of putting yourself out there creatively, it's because your art or ideas are important to you. Fear reveals our passions, our dreams, and the areas of our lives where we have the most to gain. Instead of running from fear, we need to learn to lean into it. By doing so, we transform fear from an obstacle into a tool for growth. When we follow our fears and use them as a guide, we end up discovering parts of ourselves we never knew existed. We find new strengths, new abilities, and new levels of courage that we didn't know we had. Fear, when embraced, becomes the doorway to our greatest achievements. So the next time you feel afraid, don't run from it. Instead, ask yourself what that fear is trying to tell you. What opportunity is it pointing you toward? What growth is it inviting you to experience? Use fear as a compass guiding you toward the life you truly want, and you'll find that it's not an obstacle, but one of your greatest assets on the road to success. Real-life examples of risk takers provide powerful illustrations of how bold decisions and actions can lead to extraordinary achievements. These individuals across various fields have taken massive risks, often in the face of overwhelming uncertainty, societal pressure, or personal hardship, and turned them into incredible success stories. Their journeys serve as a testament to the idea that playing it safe might provide comfort, but real transformation and progress come when we step into the unknown, embracing the possibility of failure as a necessary part of the process. And one of the most famous examples of a risk taker is Elon Musk, the visionary entrepreneur behind companies like Tesla, SpaceX, and SolarCity. Musk's journey is a perfect illustration of what it means to take massive risks in pursuit of a dream. After co-founding and selling PayPal, Musk could have easily retired comfortably with his fortune. Instead, he chose to invest nearly all of his money into two extremely risky ventures, electric cars, Tesla, and private space exploration, SpaceX. At the time, both industries were considered long shots. Electric cars had failed to gain traction in the mainstream market, and private companies trying to compete with government-funded space programs seemed almost laughable. Musk faced numerous setbacks. Tesla was on the brink of bankruptcy multiple times, and SpaceX's first 3 rocket launches all ended in failure. His personal fortune dwindled, and at one point, he had to borrow money to pay for basic living expenses. Yet, he persisted, driven by his belief in the future of sustainable energy and space exploration. Today, both Tesla and SpaceX are industry leaders, transforming the automotive and aerospace sectors. Musk's willingness to take massive risks, both financially and personally, has revolutionized multiple industries and redefined what's possible in terms of innovation. Another incredible risk taker is Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx. Blakely's story is a classic example of someone who took a huge leap of faith to bring a simple yet revolutionary idea to life. At times, she came up with the idea for Spanx footless pantyhose that women could wear under white pants, Blakely working as a door-to-door salesperson for fax machines. She had no experience in fashion or business, but she was convinced that her idea could change women's lives. With just $5,000 in savings, she set out to create a prototype and began cold calling hosiery manufacturers, many of whom laughed at her idea. Undeterred, Blakely persisted. She eventually found a manufacturer who agreed to make her product, and with no advertising budget, she personally sent samples to department store buyers. Even when Spanx made it into major retailers, Blakely took the personal risk of standing in stores and demonstrating the product to potential customers, something most entrepreneurs would have been too embarrassed to do. Her relentless drive paid off. Spanx became a huge success, and Blakely became the youngest self-made female billionaire in history. Her story is a reminder that taking risks doesn't always mean you have to have everything figured out beforehand. Sometimes it's about believing in your idea and taking bold action despite the unknowns. J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series, is another example of someone who took massive risks to pursue her passion. Rowling famously wrote the first Harry Potter book while struggling as a single mother, living on government assistance and dealing with depression. She spent years working on the manuscript and faced rejection after rejection from publishers. It would have been easy for her to give up on her dream of becoming a writer and focus on finding a more stable source of income to support herself and her child. But instead, she continued to believe in her story and persisted despite the numerous setbacks. When Rowling finally secured a publishing deal, the first print run of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone was just 500 copies. However, her dedication and refusal to give up paid off beyond her wildest dreams. The Harry Potter series has since sold over 500 million copies worldwide, making it one of the best-selling book series in history. Rowling's journey illustrates that sometimes taking the risk to pursue a creative passion, even when the odds seem insurmountable, can lead to life-changing success. Her story is also a testament to the idea that failure and rejection are not the end of the road, but rather stepping stones on the path to achieving something great. In the world of technology, Steve Jobs is another iconic example of a risk taker who changed the world. Jobs co-founded Apple in 1976, and within a few years, the company had grown into one of the most successful tech companies in the world. However, in 1985, Jobs was ousted from Apple after a power struggle with the company's board. Any people in his position might have given up after such a public and humiliating setback. But Jobs didn't retreat into obscurity. Instead, he took the massive risk of starting over from scratch. He founded NextT, a computer platform development company, and bought Pixar, a small animation studio that was struggling financially at the time. Jobs poured his own money into these ventures, even though there was no guarantee of success. Pixar eventually revolutionized the animation industry with the release of Toy Story, the first feature-length film created entirely with computer-generated imagery. Meanwhile, Apple, floundering without Jobs' leadership, ended up buying NextT, bringing Jobs back to the company he co-founded. His return to Apple marked the beginning of one of the greatest comebacks in business history. Under his leadership, Apple went on to create revolutionary products like the iPod and an iPod, transforming the tech industry and making Apple one of the most valuable companies in the world. Jobs' story demonstrates that sometimes taking risks means being willing to start over and reinvent yourself after failure. Another remarkable risk taker is Oprah Winfrey, who overcame tremendous adversity to become one of the most influential media moguls in the world. Born into poverty in rural Mississippi and enduring a difficult childhood, Winfrey faced numerous obstacles on her journey to success. Early in her career, she took the risk of stepping away from traditional news broadcasting to pursue her passion for storytelling and connecting with people on a deeper level. When she was offered the opportunity to host a local talk show in Chicago, she embraced it, even though it was a departure from the type of journalism she had been trained to do. Her decision to be authentic and vulnerable with her audience resonated deeply, and The Oprah Winfrey Show quickly became the highest-rated talk show in the country. Throughout her career, Winfrey has taken numerous risks, including launching her own television network, O-Do-Wen, and expanding into film production and philanthropy. Her willingness to take bold action, even when the outcome was uncertain, has made her one of the most successful and beloved figures in media. Winfrey's story highlights the importance of following your intuition and being willing to take risks to pursue your passion, even when others doubt you. These examples of real-life risk takers show that massive success doesn't come from playing it safe. It comes from taking bold actions, even in the face of uncertainty, failure, and doubt. Whether in business, creativity, technology, or personal growth, these individuals demonstrated that risk is often the gateway to achieving something extraordinary. Their stories remind us that while risk-taking involves uncertainty, it is also where the greatest opportunities for transformation and progress lie. Taking massive risks often brings with it a sense of uncertainty and fear, but the rewards that can result from these bold moves are often life-changing. While many people might focus on the potential for failure when considering whether to take a significant risk, those who choose to embrace the unknown and dive headfirst into uncertain territory often find that the rewards far outweigh the risks. In fact, it is only through stepping outside of comfort zones, facing challenges, and daring to dream big that the most transformative outcomes are achieved. One of the greatest rewards of taking massive risks is the personal growth that comes from pushing oneself beyond familiar limits. When we stay in our comfort zones, we rarely experience growth because we are not challenging ourselves or testing our capabilities. Taking big risks forces us to confront our fears, our weaknesses, and the parts of ourselves that we may not have fully explored. By doing so, we develop resilience, adaptability, and a stronger sense of who we are. Risk pushes us to discover our true potential, and through this process, we often realize that we are capable of far more than we ever thought possible. Moreover, massive risks often lead to opportunities that would never have materialized through cautious, incremental steps. When we take a big leap, we open doors to new possibilities that we may not have even imagined before. This is because taking bold action often attracts attention and interest from others, whether that's investors, collaborators, or simply people who are inspired by our vision. Massive risks can create a ripple effect where one bold decision leads to a chain of opportunities that can completely transform our lives. The willingness to go after something big often signals to the world that we are serious about our goals, and this can draw in resources, support, and connections that we may not have had access to otherwise. Another significant reward of taking massive risks is the sense of accomplishment that comes from achieving something that seemed impossible or unlikely. When we set ambitious goals and take bold actions to pursue them, the satisfaction that comes from reaching those goals is unparalleled. It's one thing to achieve success by following a well-trodden path, but it's an entirely different experience to succeed after taking a route filled with uncertainty, challenges, and risks. The pride and confidence that come from knowing that you took a chance, went all in, and made it happen are incredibly fulfilling. This sense of accomplishment can fuel even greater ambitions as each success builds confidence and reinforces the belief that bold action leads to significant results. In addition to personal fulfillment, taking massive risks can lead to financial or material rewards that far exceed anything that could be achieved through playing it safe. Many of the world's most successful entrepreneurs, for example, took significant risks with their finances, time, and reputations to build companies that have since become household names. Whether it's launching a new business, investing in an unconventional idea, or making a career change, those who are willing to bet on themselves and their visions often find the rewards, if successful, are not only financially lucrative, but also deeply satisfying on a personal level. These rewards aren't just limited to financial gain, they often include the freedom to live life on one's own terms, to create something meaningful, and to leave a lasting impact on the world. Another important reward that comes from taking massive risks is the development of a mindset that is focused on possibility rather than limitation. People who consistently take risks and face challenges head on tend to develop a more optimistic, opportunity-oriented perspective on life. They start to see challenges not as insurmountable obstacles, but as stepping stones to something greater. This mindset shift can be incredibly empowering as it enables individuals to approach life with a greater sense of confidence and excitement, knowing that they are capable of handling whatever comes their way. This positive outlook often spills over into all areas of life, making risk-takers more experiences, more adaptable in the face of change, and more resilient in the face of adversity. Additionally, taking massive risks can help you build a reputation as someone who is bold, innovative, and willing to go after what you want. In many industries, the people who are remembered, admired, and celebrated are not the ones who played it safe, but those who took big risks and made waves. Being known as someone who takes calculated risks and pursues ambitious goals can lead to new partnerships, collaborations, and opportunities that might never have been available otherwise. People are drawn to those who think outside the box and are unafraid to push the boundaries, and this reputation can become one of the most valuable assets for anyone looking to make an impact in their field. Taking massive risks also has the potential to inspire others. When people see someone else going after their dreams fearlessly, it often gives them the courage to pursue their own. This ripple effect of inspiration can create a powerful legacy where your boldness encourages others to take action in their own lives. Now, whether it's in business, art, or personal endeavors, those who take massive risks often leave behind a legacy of courage, innovation, and change. This is perhaps one of the most rewarding aspects of taking risks here, knowing that your actions have not only benefited you, but have also inspired and uplifted others in their journeys. Of course, it's important to acknowledge that not all risks pay off immediately. Some risks result in failure, disappointment, or setbacks, but even in these cases, there are rewards to be found. Failure, when viewed through the right lens, can be one of the greatest teachers. Each setback provides valuable lessons about what works and what doesn't, and these lessons can be applied to future endeavors. Those who are willing to take massive risks often develop a stronger tolerance for failure because they understand that it's part of the journey toward success. In the long run, The ability to learn from failure and keep moving forward is one of the most important qualities that any risk taker can develop. Moreover, failure doesn't mean the end of the road. Many of the most successful people in history experienced significant failures before they achieved their greatest successes. Their willingness to keep taking risks, even after setbacks, is what ultimately led them to their breakthroughs. This resilience and perseverance are themselves valuable rewards that come from taking risk, qualities that can serve you well in all areas of life, not just in the pursuit of big dreams. Ultimately, the rewards of taking massive risks are about more than just external success. They are about the internal transformation that happens when we step into the unknown, challenge ourselves, and embrace the possibilities that come with risk. And whether the outcome is immediate success, a valuable lesson, or a new opportunity, the experience of taking bold action is itself a reward. It shapes who we are, how we see the world, and what we believe we are capable of achieving. The real reward of taking massive risks is the life you create for yourself, the life that you dreamed of but wouldn't have achieved if you hadn't been brave enough to take that leap. So ask yourself, what massive risk are you avoiding right now? What's holding you back from the life you dream of? Is it fear? Is it doubt? Is it the comfort of the familiar? Here's my challenge to you. Take that massive risk. It's not going to be easy. You'll be scared, you'll be uncomfortable, but you'll be alive. You'll be in control, and you'll be on your way to changing your life forever. It's time to stop playing small. Go big, take risks, and live the life you've always dreamed of. Thanks for watching.